Thank you for letting me present to you today. I'd also like to thank the folks at SCORE and GCU for organizing this event. I'd like to thank the sponsors, exhibitors, and of course all the speakers who've just been, I've been eating it up, some great information. Excuse me. I want to talk to you about a subject I think that's been mentioned quite a few times in all these different talks. And I find that it's something that's actually changing how we as small business owners are doing marketing, and that's mobile. What I'd like to talk about more, though, more importantly, is how we as small business owners can take advantage of mobile to basically improve and nurture our customer loyalty. So to put a few of these things in context, I've been working with small business owners for about 6 years, but in my prior life, I worked at Intel Corporation. In the early 2000s, I worked in product development, and I had a division called the Handheld Computing Division that was basically making application processors, step over here, application processors for things that we know as, for manufacturers that made PDAs, like RIM, Palm Pilot. Are any of you using the PDAs today? I don't see any hands. Of course, I can't see much of anything. I didn't think so. But they also had another market that they were going after, and that was called smartphones. How many of you guys have smartphones? Yeah, I think smartphones won, at least today, right? I just saw a statistic saying that smartphones have surpassed the number of feature phones now in terms of unit volume, and that's quite an amazing milestone. But being the tech nerd that I am, I don't want to spend my time on that because I actually love business more. What I'd like to talk about is how we look at that and take advantage of that trend that's going on right now. This is a chart, it's not too old, that shows back in May of this year that mobile internet usage as a total of worldwide internet usage was 15%, but they're predicting that it's going to go to 30% by the end of 2014, which is not too far away. Some other trends that you might be interested in as business owners is, guess what? 4 out of 5 people are actually shopping with their phones. And I've done this myself. Guess what? I use my phone when I'm trying to find a place, call them up and drive, use my maps, Google Maps, to go find it, right? So people are using mobile now as part of their shopping experience. Oh, sorry, I missed that. The other one here, maybe I should look at this screen. Makes too much noise though. Okay, the other one here is that we've downloaded a lot of apps, and a lot of these apps are for actually shopping. And Groupon and Living Social is one that's being used quite a bit. I have another graph on that. Here's a really shocking statistic. It's that guess what? Less than 1% of advertising spend is spent on mobile advertising. Think about just the growth that we're talking about, less than 1%. Now, I actually have a more shocking statistic here, and it's this one. First of all, I don't know why they would ask that question, but I'll just let you guys know I'm not going to ask to borrow your phones, okay? Okay, my bathroom humor. All right. That's one last graph, and this one's actually specific to Groupon, but just in the last 2 years, you'll notice that now people are making Groupon purchases almost 50% of the time on their phone. And I think really what that makes us think about is how do we as business owners, if we're not really doing things on mobile, how do we get part of that business? It's very important. So how do we compete? I have to stay away from over there. I keep wanting to walk over there. How do we compete? We compete the same way as we've always done. We have to get back to the business basics. And it's really all about, we have to provide great products and services. We have to know who our ideal clients, our ideal customers are, because they're the ones that are going to be highly profitable and are going to refer business to us. We also have to understand what our core differentiation is in terms of our business and our brand. And it's got to be what's important to the customer, not what we think is important. We often run into that. We think we know what the customer knows, and it's not true. The other part is we need to have a marketing system where we we can take prospects to know, like, and trust us, get them to know, like, and trust us. And we also, on the flip side, need a sales system that gets them to try, buy, repeat, and refer business to us. Now, if we do all of that well, and we're thinking about the customer, then they actually have a great customer experience. And you know what happens when you have great customer experiences? We get loyal customers, right? And if we do it really well, we get raving fans. Anyone want raving fans? I do. Anyone? No? Okay. I don't know. There's one. Great. Well, let's talk about how do you create a great customer experience. Anyone had a great customer experience lately? I know that service quality is going down, but anybody? A few hands. I bet you if you guys thought about it and you shared your great experience with each other, I bet you they would all be different. But what we do know, that even though they all may be different, they go through different stages, they go through different moments of truth, as Procter & Gamble likes to call it. And we have to look at that and we have to think, how can we make a great experience for our customers? How can we have those moments of truth where they'll keep going through that process of eventually going from knowing us to becoming raving fans? We have to be intentional about that. Because if we know loyalty for us will mean success, will mean long-term success. Raving fans do repeat business with us. They refer us to their family and friends. And ultimately, all of that means sales growth. This makes our businesses sustainable for over the long term. So what does mobile look like? What does loyalty look like on mobile? Well, it looks like this, and like again, a lot of the prior speakers have mentioned this. First of all, it's a better customer experience. How many of you like to use your phone, use your phone or use your PC when you're driving down the road? Well, or your laptop, right? The reality is it's a better experience. The other part about a phone is the smartphones is it's always connected. 84% of mobile users have their phone within 10 feet of reach. Think about that. This thing is always there. So as Greg was saying, if somebody wants to, at some point, find out more about your business, look at some of the stuff that you're providing on your website, they can do that at any time they want. They're always connected. The other part is it's targeted. Google obviously has a lot of analytics to understand what's going on in terms of the behaviors, but you can target your advertising to get them exactly what they want when they want it. And because because that advertising is targeted, you also get a higher ROI on your investment. I know it's very hard in the old days where we just shouted out a bunch of stuff and hope that we collect a few customers out of it. Well, this way it's actually going the other way. We reverse that funnel. The only caveat here is we know, and we've talked about it, it is about that relationship, that engagement with your customers. If you fail to do a good job on any of those moments of truth, in the digital world, they can just opt out, right? They can just opt out from your email list, no longer use your app, no longer go to your website. They control. So we have to keep that in mind. Howard Schultz, who's the CEO and founder of Starbucks, is I consider one of my favorite marketing gurus. What I like about what he does is he really does think about the customer experience, and he's always innovating around it. I won't read this quote here, but you get that sense that he understands that the total customer experience now is also about digital. Not just about what you do in the physical world, but the digital. And they've been taking a lot of actions to that. And I'm proof, as probably many of you, because I do a lot of my one-on-ones at Starbucks. And I like that experience, and I wouldn't be going back if I didn't. I have a lot of freedom and choice of where to go. So really, this is my final slide in terms of the meat of my presentation. How can you take advantage of mobile? Well, first of all, you need to go back to defining what your ideal customer experience is, especially as it relates to mobile. Have you done that? Because what we want to do is we want to be strategic about how we're approaching our customers. It's great that we understand pay-per-click and all these analytics and the behaviors, but we have to have a strategy where we're guiding them, again, to those moments of truth. The other part is you need to optimize your website for mobile. A lot of you, and I go out to see a lot of sites, but if your site is more than 2 or 3 years old, you really need to consider about having it upgraded and redesigned. With this new HTML5 code, it gives you the ability to have your site viewed differently, whether it's on a PC or a tablet or a smartphone. It's a big advantage without all the extra work. Doodle Mobile, not that I promoting them, but Doodle Mobile has an app that you can even tailor your smartphone more. Your website, mobile app more. Mobile website. The other part is if you have a loyalty program, how many of you have loyalty programs? A few of you? Okay, great. One of the most frustrating things for me is all of my loyalty programs is I've got about 8 loyalty cards in my wallet, and you probably have a bunch of them in your wallet or purse as well. You know, think about how you could make that digital. How could that be a better experience? I always hate it when I forget that coupon. I've gone down to Office Max. Oh, no, got to go back. How can you make that experience better for them? Because again, if you don't have a loyalty program, you need to put one in place. And you have a lot of options to do that. But having that loyalty program, again, nurtures that customer loyalty over time. The other, Ron talked to this way more than I will here, is he said 43% of the people read their emails on a smartphone. So make sure it's easy. Make sure those articles aren't too long. There's not too much navigation involved with how you're doing that. Some of you might, especially if you're a B2C, might consider using text advertising. You know what the great thing is about text messages? 100% of them get read. That doesn't mean they do anything, but 100% of them get read. So if you really have a good relationship, then you can make offers on text advertising that they'll be interested in. Again, if you over-market, oversell, over-communicate too much, they'll just opt out, okay? And they have, remember, that freedom to do that. Now, if you really want to up your game, you might want to consider a mobile app. Do any of you use the Starbucks mobile app? Okay, yeah, that's great. I can find a Starbucks location very easily. It can keep track of my favorite coffee and food, and if you're making your purchase and you have an iPhone, you can pay for it that way. So again, that thinking about what is my total customer experience and how can I make that better.